Hello, I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase, and I'm here with a very important message. We are at a turning point in the Black community where we must have equity in the apps we use that scale to billions of dollars. But this time, we own the infrastructure, we own the culture, and we shape the future. And Fanbase is the future. Fanbase combines the free functionality of Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube into an all-in-one platform built for the evolution of social media and monetization. With over 1.4 million users, that's real proof that we are shifting the conversation of tech ownership and equity for creators. So right now, I want you to go to startengine.com/fanbase and invest today. The minimum to invest is $399. That gets you 60 shares of stock in Fanbase at $665 a share. This marks a turning point in Black ownership of social media. If we don't take this opportunity to own social media right now, we will always be customers to our own creations. And that can't go on. So once again, go to startengine.com/fanbase and invest today. We must own the platforms where our voices live, our stories matter, and where our culture drives the world. Thank you.
Folks, Black Star Network is here.
Oh, no punches!
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
Stay Black. I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, there's a difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig? folks, today is Tuesday, November 8th. Hey, folks, today is Tuesday, November 18th, 2025. Coming up on Roland Martin Unfiltered, streaming live on the Black Star Network. Breaking news, federal judges, they have told Texas they cannot use the map that they actually voted upon that was said it was a racist gerrymander. They said racial gerrymandering took place. It was not partisan politics. We'll talk with Texas State Representative Jolanda Jones about this huge decision and the implications for next year. Also, a federal judge is allowing a major RICO case to move forward in Kansas City that alleges that an all-white board is freezing out African-American business owners in an entertainment district. Wait until we tell you about that. Also, National Guard, they got to leave Memphis. Another federal judge made that decision. We'll talk with a city council member who's a part of that lawsuit. Capitol Hill, they voted the House 427-1 to release all Epstein files. The Senate swiftly passed it. Now goes to Trump's desk for a vote. Speaking of Trump, he literally shamed a reporter on Air Force One. Then he shamed another one in the Oval Office as he defended Saudi Arabia against charges that the prince there was behind the killing of an American journalist. Yeah, that actually happening. Also, Trump's Latino support is crashing. We'll talk to Black political pollster Christophe Towler about what that could mean for next year's races. It's a whole lot for us to unpack. It's time to bring the funk on Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Let's go.
He's got it. Whatever the biz, he's on it. Whatever it is, he's got the scoop, the fact, the find. And when it breaks, he's right on time and it's rolling. Best believe he's knowing. Putting it down from sports to news to politics. With entertainment just for kicks, he's rolling. It's on go, y'all. It's Roland Martin, rolling with Roland now. He's funky, fresh, he's real, the best, you know he's Roland Martin now.
All right, folks, a huge story out of Texas where federal judges have said that Texas cannot use maps that were passed by the legislature. Remember, that map, that set off an entire battle all across the country when it came to the issue of gerrymandering. Donald Trump called Texas Governor Greg Abbott and said, "Get me 5 seats." Abbott said, "Sure, I'll do that." As a result, you had this huge battle to actually pass these particular maps. Well, of course, you remember Democrats walked out and they said, hey, we can't stick around for this. Well, the federal judges have now ruled that, guess what? Can't use the maps. And here's the deal. You got Attorney General Ken Paxton saying these far-left judges. Well, the judge who wrote the opinion was a Trump appointee. This is what U.S. Judge Jeffrey Brown said. Again, appointed by Donald Trump. He said the public perception of this case is that it's about politics. To be sure, politics played a role in the drawing, the 2025 map. But it was much more than just politics. Substantial evidence shows that Texas racially gerrymandered the 2025 map. Brown ordered that the 2026 congressional election, quote, shall proceed under the map that the Texas legislature enacted in 2021. Now, of course, Ken Paxton said they're going to appeal this case to the Supreme Court. So here's the deal, all right? This right here, okay, proposed. This is current. So these maps right here, this is exactly right now how everything is constituted. And so what did you have? You had Mark Vesey's seat in Dallas. You had Jasmine Crockett's seat in Dallas. When you go down to Houston, you had, of course, Al Green's seat, the 9th Congressional District. Then you have the 18th Congressional District. That seat has yet to be filled because Abbott has been screwing around. He's even called that special election between Christian Menifee as well as Amanda Edwards to take place January 31st. So those folks would have gone more than 11 months without a member of Congress. This here was the map that Texas actually passed that eliminated it eliminated Crockett's district, eliminated Green's district. They moved Green into the 9th district, moved Green from the 9th to the 18th. And so what that would do, that would eliminate 5 Democrats, 2 of those be African American. Joining us right now, Texas State Representative Jolanda Jones. Of course, she was on the committee, this so-called bipartisan redistricting committee. And here's the deal. They kept saying over and over, Jolanda, they kept trying to tell Democrats, do not talk about fair maps. Do not talk about, in terms of, what's fair and also gerrymandering. They said, no, you have to call it racist gerrymandering. And so here you have this Trump-appointed federal judge saying, indeed, race was at the heart of the changing of these maps.
For sure. And you remember, Roland, every time you saw me during the quorum break, I kept saying, call it what it is, racist, and it's racist some more. Because our talking points were, it's political, Trump wants 5 Republican seats, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, that's not illegal. So I'm thankful that our fleeing from the FBI and injustice was worth it. But I'm going to hold my fingers, Roland, about the Supreme Court in the Louisiana versus Calais case, because all these Voting Rights Act cases are going to hinge on what the Supremes do in that case. I'm almost certain you're familiar with that. If you're not, I'm happy to explain.
Yeah, I mean, look, first of all, because of how the rules are, the only place they can appeal this decision is the United States Supreme Court. Now, people have to understand something, that this decision was a 3-judge panel. Again, Brown, Trump appointee, who also clerked for Greg Abbott. Okay? Then you have, and this same person was a former Texas Supreme Court justice. You have another federal judge appointed by President Barack Obama. And then you had another judge, Dear Smith, appointed by Reagan, cast a dissenting vote. He's going to release his own opinion. And so, yeah, it's now here's the issue. Timing now dictates this, because the deadline to file for next year is December 8th.
December 8th. December 8th.
So the problem is we're like 3 weeks away. So here's the issue. They can appeal, but if the Supreme Court doesn't take it up and again, the Supreme Court does have a precedent where they've done this before. They did it in Louisiana and in Georgia, where they said, hey, even though a lower court ruled this, we're going to freeze everything in place. So they could freeze, not the current map. They could freeze this proposed map by saying, well, we know what they said, but it's too late to make any changes, so we're going to freeze this in place. But they could also say, we're going to go to the lower court and freeze it in place and still hear the arguments later. So, you don't know, but the bottom line is, Republicans, they are banking on this right-wing court siding with them.
I agree with that, Roland. And here's the deal. If the Calais case out of Louisiana, if the Supremes keep the Voting Rights Act, Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act, then I think that the Supremes are going to affirm what this 3-judge panel did. But if they eviscerate the Voting Rights Act, where they're saying to comply with the Voting Rights Act, where you create a district based on race, like they did in Louisiana, because they cut a black district out, and in order to remedy them cutting out a black district, then Louisiana created a second black district. Then the non-black folks sued on that 2024 map, and that's where we are. What's really interesting about the case out of Louisiana is that the Supreme Court had them argue that case in March of this year, and then had them come back on October 15th to re-argue, which is incredibly rare. And the issue is the Voting Rights Act constitutional? Does the Voting Rights Act violate the 14th and 15th Amendment? So I don't know where they're going to land. Stare decisis has always said, since we got the Civil Rights Act, that the Voting Rights Act, Section 2, and the 14th and 15th Amendment Equal Protection Clause work together. So this is the first time we've had a Supreme Court saying, does the Voting Rights Act, Section 2, violate the 14th and 15th Amendment? In other words, is the Voting Rights Act constitutional? That scares the shit out of me.
Well,
true story.
Well, here's the other thing here, okay? So the Supreme Court previously ruled that if it's a partisan gerrymandering, they serve no role, no purpose. It's left up to the states. But the Supreme Court, depending upon this Louisiana case, the Supreme Court can still rule on racial gerrymandering. Here's the problem for Texas. Texas decided to argue before the courts, oh no, this was a partisan gerrymander. Here's the problem. Trump was so stupid, thankfully, that his own Department of Justice sent a letter to Texas saying, this map, they said this map was racially done. Texas was in court arguing that this map had no racial intent in it. So they were supporting that. So then all of a sudden the letter comes. What then happens? Abbott, in his proclamation calling for a special session, says we have to do this in response to the Department of Justice letter. So this is what Judge Brown said, which is hilarious. Judge Brown literally writes, the governor explicitly, first of all, Brown said, and I'll read the Texas Tribune story. Brown said it was difficult to analyze the DOJ letter because it contained, quote, so many factual, legal, and typographical errors. But the fact that the state leaders had pointed to the letter repeatedly as the impetus for redistricting was enough. Quote, the governor explicitly directed the legislature to draw a new U.S. House map to resolve DOJ's concerns. In other words, the governor explicitly directed the legislature to redistrict based on race. In press appearances, the governor plainly and expressly disavowed any partisan objective and instead repeatedly stated that his goal was to eliminate coalition districts and create new majority Hispanic districts.
But Roland, you know I was there, right? And you know during the redistricting hearings, I literally said that DOJ letter is wrong on the law. And if you will recall, Roland, at the first redistricting sham meetings, my colleagues were saying that it's based on the DOJ letter, it's based on the DOJ letter, it's based on the DOJ letter. By the time they got to the actual hearing at the Capitol, somebody told them, hey, man, this is actually racist. Y'all now have to say it's partisan. So my colleagues, the Republican ones, at one stage of the game were saying we're relying on the DOJ letter.
Right.
And then right after that, after somebody said y'all dumb, y'all stupid, y'all racist, then they flipped the script, which all that testimony came out in the hearing. And I kept saying to my Democratic colleagues who did not want to call racism,
right.
You got to call it racism. You heard me, Roland, say,
listen,
you got to call it racism. You and I were on the same page.
Listen, I talked to Tarrant County Commissioner Lisa Simmons. She said to me that they were at a rally in Tarrant County and they were handed the language to say, and all these Democrats kept getting up there, kept saying, fair maps, fair map. And she was like, what the hell are y'all doing? So when she went up, she says, no, these are racist, gerrymandered maps. And you kept saying, hey, dumbasses, if you don't say racist maps,
we're going to lose.
When we go to court, they're going to use your own words against you. So here's the deal. So Abbott's problem is they use their own words. In fact, this is so hilarious. Abbott released a statement. He said that it was absurd to say the maps were drawn with discriminatory intent. He said the legislature redrew our congressional maps to better reflect Texans' conservative voting preferences, and for no other reason. This ruling is clearly erroneous and undermines the authority of the U.S. Constitution assigned to the Texas legislature by imposing a different map by judicial edict. Dude, you literally put the DOJ letter in your proclamation.
He did. But Roland, here's the shit show that is now going on right now. Currently, Congressman Green filed for Texas 18, right? Because in the new maps, 65% of the new Texas 18 came from Texas 9, and it only stayed 25% intact. You cannot file for two separate seats.
Right.
You can't be on the ballot. So Congressman Green has got to decide, do I come back out of Texas 18, right, and file for Texas 9? Because right now, his Texas 9 is what it is currently. Because if the Supremes come back after it and they say, no, we've changed the Voting Rights Act, it violates the 14th and 15th Amendments of the equal protection of the Constitution, then he's shit out of luck and he's out. He's the person with the hardest decision to make.
Well, first of all, let's be real clear. He is a hard decision. Again, everybody watch it. This is the current map. This is the current map right here. Okay? This is the current map. All right? So now you talk. So what she's talking about is how things are right now in terms of 5 districts, Democrat, talking about where Green is in the 9th, the 18th, and then, of course, you have the 30th with Jasmine Crockett. Then you got Mark Vesey. You got Sylvia.
33rd.
Okay, 33rd. Here's the other problem, y'all. This is the proposed map. So here's the issue. This is the problem. Okay, the deadline is December 8th. So here's a conundrum for Green, but also Crockett. Because Crockett has to decide, well, do I file to run in the new district, which is where Vesey is? Vesey is talking about possibly running for Tarrant County judge. Crockett may run for the United States Senate. And so here's the it's all the stuff going on. So to your point, because you don't know what the Supreme Court's going to do, the limbo is very simple. Will the Supreme Court freeze in place the new Republican map, or will they say, let's freeze in place the old map? That's literally where we are.
So Congressman Green, as I said before, he's going to get reelected in the current Texas 9. Under the new Texas.
I'm sorry, when you say the current Texas 9, meaning
like what it is now.
Right, what it is now, meaning
he's been there 20 years.
There you go. His original 9th congressional district. Got it.
Right. But the new 9th literally has been created for a Republican. So, and they took 65% of his current Texas 9 and moved it into 18. And moved it into 18.
So he has to decide, do I file?
He's already filed for 18.
Right.
Which was $3,200.
So he has to, by the deadline, does he withdraw that and file for the 9th, hoping the Supreme Court freezes in place
what's now,
or risk the Supreme
being in a Republican district that he represents that number.
Right.
So the person that's getting the royal screwing is Congressman Al Green. And let me be clear. In this lawsuit, you will see plaintiffs and plaintiff intervener Alexander Green. So he literally is fighting. He is fighting to keep, you see his name? And he's the person who stands to lose the most.
Well, the problem now is the appeal goes to the Supreme Court. And will the Supreme Court freeze in place the current map or the new map?
But the Calais case at Louisiana, Roland, which they've been considering since at least October 15th, or before that, but the latest oral arguments, they've had that long enough to make a damn ruling before December 8th. So if they don't make it, shame on them.
Well, we have seen how they can move fast when they want to.
Or slow.
Or move slow when they want to. Hey, Representative Jolanda Jones, we appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for having me, Roland.
All right, thanks a bunch. Got to go to break. We come back. We'll talk with our panel about all this drama coming out of Texas. You're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered right here in the Black Stud Network.
This week on The Other Side of Change.
Book bans, anti-intellectualism, and Trump's continued war on wisdom.
This is a coordinated backlash to progress. At the end of the day, conservatives realized that they couldn't win a debate on facts. They started using our language against us, right? Remember when we were all woke and the woke movement and all that kind of stuff? Now everything is anti-woke, right? When we were talking about including diversity, equity, inclusion, higher education, now it's anti-DEI. All this are efforts to suppress the truth because truth empowers people.
You're watching The Other Side of Change only on the Black Star Network.
Next on the Black Table with me, Greg Carr. Our legal roundtable is back in session as we look at yet another potential landmark case being considered by the United States Supreme Court. This one is called 303 Creative versus Alennis, and may be the most important and far-reaching First Amendment, that is freedom of speech, case of our time. It could, depending on how the court rules, open the door for a return of Jim Crow segregation laws. It's true.
If you say we can discriminate against one, you're saying we can discriminate against all.
That's on the next Black Table. Don't miss it. Right here on the Black Star Network.
If in this country right now, you have people get up in the morning and the only thing they can think about is how many people they can hurt, and they got the power, that's the time for mourning.
For better or worse, what makes America special, it's that legal system that's supposed to protect minorities from the tyranny of the majority.
We are at a point of a moral emergency. We must raise a voice of outrage. We must raise a voice of compassion. And we must raise a voice of unity.
We are not in a crisis of party versus party. We are in a crisis of civilization, a human rights crisis, and a crisis of democracy itself. And guess what? You've been chosen to make sure that those that would destroy, those that would hate, don't have the final say, and they don't ultimately win.
Hey, I'm Tasha Cobbs, and you are watching Roland Martin Unfiltered. But I need a little filter. I need something. Blow me out. Make me look 35.
All right, folks, let's bring up our panel right now. I'm glad to have them here. Dr. Mustafa Santiago Ali, former senior advisor, environmental justice at the EPA, joining me out of Washington, D.C. Randy Bryant. She is DEI disruptor, entrepreneur, author, speaker, creator of The Truthing Game out of D.C. Joe Richardson, civil rights attorney out of L.A. Glad to have all three of you here. Joe, I'll start with you. This is a legal conundrum. We're in this very weird space here because we can sort of guess the Supreme Court may side with Republicans. The problem is this is the same Supreme Court that ruled that the Opportunity District in Alabama should be created because it was a violation of the Civil Rights Act, Voting Rights Act, Section 2. They allowed Louisiana, they allowed the Louisiana seat to go forward as well. So the problem is, we don't know where in the hell this court is.
Yeah, we don't know where they are, and we don't know whether or not they would look to preserve the status quo. Often, when there is an early thing like a TRO, basically is what you're asking for. When you say that it looks like I'm going to win, so therefore this ought to be held in place or this ought to be stopped. That's basically what this three-judge panel is saying. Interestingly, the Republicans are majoring in the art of deflection here. While they claim that we're being racial, the fact of the matter is they got pointed out for being racial themselves. And the judge, who was a Trump judge, great minds think alike, I made out to read the same first paragraph that you read at the top of the show. The idea that this is a racist gerrymander. And as of now, you cannot racially gerrymander. You can politically gerrymander, but which is the short of it. You know, there's a racist gerrymander, and what they've said is that because it's a coalition district, any district that's a coalition district where two or more minority groups form the majority, they come together to form the majority, that therefore you skip, and it's unconstitutional, and therefore you have to undo it. And that's patently wrong, and that's what this decision said. But the question becomes, to your point, what this Supreme Court is going to do on this Louisiana case. Because if they decide that a racist gerrymander, a race-based gerrymander is okay, and not just if there's some incidental effect, then theoretically we would be out of luck. But the worst part about it all, to the point that you're making, is that this Supreme Court has been so inconsistent and so fill in the blank that you don't even know whether they will approach this with the proper amount of measure, right? So that's as important and as dangerous as anything. The idea that they jump to a conclusion, or they jump and ignore so much precedent related to the Voting Rights Act, et cetera. Even if they do that slowly, it's not good news, right? But in any event, the Republicans know that the decision that happened today is bad news. And this reminds you, Donald Trump will never fail. He talks before he thinks, and he says things, and he has people in the Justice Department write things and misspell them and not do it the right way, even where they're incomplete sentences. They have them say things where now the judge has used their very words against them. This is what happens when you speak before you think, when you're not strategic. It's not, oh, let's just hammer it. Let's just do what we want to do. We'll worry about the rules later. There are some judges, including, as it turns out, some Trump judges that are worried about the rules and that are concerned about the rules. And so this is a sound decision. We just have to see how long it lasts.
You know, Mustafa, again, it's a whole lot that's going on here. And what's hanging in the balance really is these 5 seats going to be critical. And also, if I'm correct, and I got to pull it up, I think California, their measure also was contingent that if Texas seats got reversed, then their thing doesn't take effect. So there's like a whole domino effect here.
Yeah, there definitely is. I think the question will also be, there are a couple of others who have already done some gerrymandering, also Missouri and I believe it was North Carolina as well. You know, as you said, it's the dominoes continue to fall, but maybe the dominoes need to fall because we shouldn't have gerrymandering. We should make sure that we have fair maps. You know, it's interesting. You know, we come on the show and we continue to raise that these people are not ready for prime time. You can tell it by, you know, the documents that they put forward that are not prepared, you know, properly, which blows my mind. I remember going through review after review after review of documents whenever we were, you know, submitting different types of things. And then for them to actually get their hand caught in the cookie jar, you know, that July 7th letter from the Civil Rights Division. So, you know, that they continue to make mistakes. But we also understand that there are courts that often will, you know, support them, even though they're not bringing forward everything that would normally be necessary. The other thing that I want to say real quickly, Roland, is that, you know, I appreciate not only this show and the Congresswoman who was on and others who continue to make sure that we don't sugarcoat stuff. Because when we sugarcoat stuff and we don't call it what it is, Joe just said it, you know, racial gerrymandering is illegal. We got to continue to make sure that we're doing that. And then the last thing is, of course, you know, you had mentioned about the Supreme Court and how quickly they might move. We remember in 2021 that heartbeat law there in Texas, I think it was U.S. versus Texas, was one of those cases that moved rather quickly. I believe it was around 39 days. So folks should still continue to you know, stay focused, continue to push, continue to highlight these injustices that are going on, because nothing is settled until it's settled.
You know, the thing that we have to understand here, Randy, is that these are monumental decisions. This is not just about, okay, 5 members of Congress. It's who people are going to be represented by. And we can't overlook that. And when we talk about who they're represented by, that also then impacts millions and billions of dollars.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's going to affect, you know, every decision, every household, how people live, the rights that they have. I mean, it's going to have major impact. And if we're really honest, we're really trying to see if these judges are going to show their, do their jobs and uphold the law, or are they going to uphold their allegiance to Trump? I think that's what we have seen a lot in the past. But now Trump is even shaking judges whom he appointed. And I think that he's pushed them too far where they're saying, wait a minute, I do have to uphold the law, and I can't go forward with holding up, you know, what you're asking me to do. And that is making me somewhat happy, but I think it's what's making us also nervous, because are they going to continue in the way that it seems that if we look at the cases the last few weeks, that judges, even judges that he appointed, our past Republican presidents have appointed, are saying this is enough. Let me stand by and uphold the law, or are we going to show an allegiance to the party? And I think that is what is making our stomachs in knots.
And, you know, what you've seen is you've seen this schizophrenic court with their rulings. And so we don't know, but we're certainly going to stay on top of this, because this has huge implications for all across the country. All right, I'm going to do a quick break, come back, tell you about this case out of Kansas City that is unbelievable. Everybody kept saying systematic racism doesn't exist. That's a lie. Back in a moment.
Side of change.
Book bans, anti-intellectualism, and Trump's continued war on wisdom.
This is a coordinated backlash to progress. At the end of the day, conservatives realized that they couldn't win a debate on facts. They started using our language against us, right? You remember when we were all woke and the woke movement and all that kind of stuff? Now everything is anti-woke, right? When we were talking about including diversity, equity, inclusion, and higher education, now it's anti-DEI. All this are efforts to suppress the truth because truth empowers people.
You're watching The Other Side of Change, only on the Black Star Network.
Next on the Black Table with me, Greg Carr. Our legal roundtable is back in session as we look at yet another potential landmark case being considered by the United States Supreme Court. This one is called 303 Creative versus Alennis, and may be the most important and far-reaching First Amendment, that is freedom of speech, case of our time. It could, depending on how the court rules, open the door for a return of Jim Crow segregation laws. It's true.
If you say we can discriminate against one, you're saying we can discriminate against all.
That's on the next Black Table. Don't miss it. Right here on the Black Star Network.
This week on A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie, are you looking for clarity on your believer's journey? Are you finding it difficult to really find your lane and stay in your place? Do you think that you have what it takes to build a sense of community even in these difficult times, knowing that God has got your back? Well, this week on A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie, we're talking about just those things.
I have the courage to walk through this tough season because they're going to come.
You need the friends that have a belief system like yours.
A believer's journey this week on A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie on Black Star Network.
Michael McMillan, President and CEO of the Urban League of Metropolitan St. Louis, and you are watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
A federal judge is letting a major RICO lawsuit move forward in Kansas City against an all-white board that is accused of running Westport's nightlife scene like a racist cartel. At the center is a secret good neighbor agreement allegedly used to shut out black-owned businesses. Audio recordings show board members threatening owners who wouldn't comply. The lawsuit says they even kept a banned playlist targeting popular black artists. Judge Roseanne Ketchmark now says there's enough evidence of a coordinated discriminatory conspiracy to proceed to trial. Attorney Cecilia Brown, who filed the lawsuit, joins us right now. Glad to have you here on Roland Martin Unfiltered.
Thank you so much for having me.
What the hell?
That is precisely what I said. What we have in front of us is a racketeering scheme. I have myself come into contact with at least 5 businesses who have been victim to this racketeering scheme. Right now, I represent 2, Euphoric LLC and the Soars LLC, and my partner, Stephen Williams, represents Unique LLC.
Okay, so how long has this been allegedly going on?
So we have recorded audio from the past executive director of the Westport Community Improvement District saying that they have been doing this since 2013.
And so for folks who are not from there, describe this Westport area. What is this area?
For sure. So Kansas City has 3 major entertainment districts. One of them is the Westport district. The Westport district is reserved for nightlife, kind of the bar scene. That's where the popular clubs would be. The other entertainment districts are more like shopping and different concert venues. So the Westport district is located near Midtown of Kansas City. It is quite literally the midpoint of where every community kind of converges. And so to learn that there has been such a scheme to make sure that Black entrepreneurs are not able to benefit in the same place that they take Black dollars, it wouldn't be a surprise to Kansas Cityans, but it's huge as a legal case in Kansas City.
So this Westport area, so what you're saying is like if you go to Kansas City, it's the entertainment sort of mecca where people are going to go. And I'm assuming it gets lots of black consumers.
Absolutely. Like I said, it is located basically at the convergence of all of the communities there. It has a ton of Black consumers. Westport is actually one of the only places that you can go to if you don't want to have a stuffy nightlife, if you actually want to be entertained in Kansas City. Unfortunately, there have been known efforts to make sure that Black patrons stay out, including having a banned list of DJs who can play there. All of them are Black DJs, a banned list of Black artists who can play, including names like Beyonce, Drake. These are people who are constantly in the top 10 to ban those type of artists and citing, that they incite violence. It is quite frankly the dog whistle that it sounds like.
So first of all, how long has this Westport area been around?
That's a great question. So this Westport area has been around since the 1800s. In fact, one of the businesses still located, still located in Westport, used to sell and auction enslaved Black people.
That's some rich history there. And you're representing several business, but how long? Have other business owners complained for years about not being able to get in here?
So one thing that we're finding is that there have been many complaints, not just with Black business owners who have not been able to obtain a lease or sustain a lease. That's been going on for years. But as we're going through the discovery, what we're finding is that other businesses also feel like they were forced to sign this good neighbor agreement, either by extortion, bribery, or coercion. We also believe, based on the discovery that we have, that agents of Kansas City have been involved in this racketeering scheme as well.
So this is really far-reaching.
It really is. It's unfortunately what we know to be how systemic racism continues and grows. You have the ultra-wealthy who don't want to have to share or split their money with people that they deem unworthy. And you have systems in place who have agents in them who are going to give preference to those ultra wealthy, who all under the guise of we're keeping Kansas City safe. Even though Westport Entertainment District has been the scene of so many murders in Kansas City. Based on what these defendants are saying, they would be blaming that on Black people, but not one Black business owner is occupying one of the 251 businesses out there, and they've made sure of that.
Wow. Questions from my panel. Joe, you first.
Wow, this is unbelievable. I've got family in Kansas City, so a lot of connections to the city. This is excellent work. I have a two-part question. One question is the extent of the relief that you're looking for. I'm assuming it's probably both monetary and injunctive. And then the other thing I'm wondering is this a revelation to people in Kansas City? Or is this something that it's like, well, okay, looks like the game is up, looks like the jig is up, versus them really not knowing that this was going on and that this was always going on behind the scenes? How informative is this for people that have been there for years and years and years?
Thank you for those questions. So first, this is not a revelation to the people in Kansas City. If you look at any of the thousands of comments that have been left on different media websites about this, Black people and brown people know that this is what's going on. I think the revelation is coming to those property owners and those CID members that someone is finally standing up and having the resources to fight back. As to your other question, you are correct. We are obviously going for monetary damages, but also injunctive relief. Right now, we are in the appeals process on a TRO that we have had a hearing about already on October 6th. The judge, in our opinion, failed in her duty to correctly analyze the law. So we are currently appealing in the 8th Circuit.
Wow. Great. Thanks.
Randy.
Hi, thanks for being here. I sadly have heard of cases like this in other towns. And so what I'm wondering, is there a case history that you're referencing where we have seen other Black and brown businesses blocked out of the area and they have successfully worked to resolve that issue legally?
Thank you for your question, Randy. So I have not personally seen another case that quite mirrors the facts of this case. However, what I am relying on is the well-known knowledge of restrictive covenants and redlining. This is just a repeat of that. What oppressors do is nothing new. The game is always rigged in the same way. And so that's what we're comparing this to as of now.
Thank you.
Mustafa.
Yeah, well, again, thank you for everything that you're doing. You know, I was listening and I was thinking this is like a 21st century burning down of Black businesses without the fire. I'm just curious about how do we help our folks to have a better understanding of navigating these types of situations? I know there's a legal process, but there's also an educational process, I would assume.
Thank you for that question, Mustafa. I think that's one of the most important questions that I could have answered tonight. You know, unfortunately, because Black people were kept out of business for so long, we haven't always had the resources. We don't know when someone is breaching a contract. We don't know when we're being taken advantage of. And so with this case, what we hope to do is garner national attention to educate people that this is what's happening and this is what it looks like. I know in Kansas City, the Jackson County Bar Association holds kind of lunch and learns for citizens and residents to come in and kind of learn some of those basic legal tenets, whether it be in contract law and criminal law, to try to better educate the residents. And I think that there are many local African American bar associations that do the same thing.
This is the reality of being Black in America. And thank goodness there are lawyers, and we can't wait to see this proceed forward to see what the response is. So, Cecilia, great job, and keep us abreast of what happens in this case.
Absolutely. Thank you for your time.
All right. Thanks a bunch. All right, folks. We'll be right back. Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Stud Network. Don't forget, support the work that we do. We cover stories just like this. It's really important for us to be able to tell our story. If you want to join our Bring the Funk fan club, use the Stripe QR code. You see it right here, bottom left-hand corner. PayPal's R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo's RM Unfiltered. Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com. Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Check some money order. Make it payable to Roland Martin Unfiltered. P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 2003 7-0196. Back in a moment.
This week on A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie. Are you looking for clarity on your believer's journey? Are you finding it difficult to really find your lane and stay in your place? Do you think that you have what it takes to build a sense of community even in these difficult times, knowing that God has got your back? Well, this week on A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie, we're talking about just those things.
I have the courage to walk through this tough season because they're going to come.
You need the friends that have a belief system like yours.
A believer's journey this week on A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie on Black Star Network.
Said the quiet part out loud. Black votes are a threat. So they erased them. After the Supreme Court gutted the Voting Rights Act in 2013, Republican legislatures moved fast. New voter ID laws, polling place shutdowns, purges of black voters from the rolls. Trump's Justice Department didn't stop it, they joined in. In 2018, his DOJ backed Ohio's voter purge system, a scheme that disproportionately erased black voters. Their goal, erase black votes and political power. Yeah, that happened. These are the kinds of stories that we cover every day on Roland Martin Unfiltered. Subscribe on YouTube and download the Black Star Network app. Support fact-based independent journalism that centers African Americans and the issues that matter to our community.
Next on the Black Table with me, Greg Carr. Our legal roundtable is back in session as we look at yet another potential landmark case being considered by the United States Supreme Court. This one is called 303 Creative versus Alinis and may be the most important and far-reaching First Amendment, that is freedom of speech, case of our time. It could, depending on how the court rules, open the door for a return of Jim Crow segregation laws. It's true.
If you say we can discriminate against one, you're saying we can discriminate against all.
That's on the next Black Table. Don't miss it. Right here on the Black Star Network.
Violent white supremacy is, quote, the most persistent and lethal threat in the homeland.
The greatest terrorist threat to the homeland is the homegrown violence stream, including hate crime committed on behalf of some kind of white supremacist ideology.
They are coming after everything in Black America. MAGA and Donald Trump are specifically targeting Black America. They are going after the money. Attack Black Lives Matter. Attack critical race theory. Attack DEI. MAGA wants to defund Black America. This is a perfect example of their desire to completely degrade and de-emphasize Black people.
Melanie Campbell, National Coalition on Black Civic Participation and Black Women's Roundtable. And we are watching Roland Martin Unfiltered all day, every day, 24/7. Spread the word.
Well, folks, all of the Jeffrey Epstein files are going to be released. The House voted 427 to 1. It was hardcore Trump supporter Clay Higgins who was the one claiming he voted no because it did not offer enough protections for the victims. Well, and the way the Senate ruled, like literally the moment it went to the Senate, it automatically passed. It wasn't even a vote. Now it goes to Trump to sign. He said he's going to sign. And this was after many of those victims stood outside of Capitol Hill today, demanding action. They were led there by Republican Thomas Massie of Kentucky, who has been one of the leading voices on this issue. And again, they testified. They were putting pressure. Congressman Ro Khanna was one of these people. And you may have noticed during Sunday's football games, this commercial here was put out by the victims that also put a face on this absolutely crazy sex trafficking case.
I suffered so much pain.
So much pain. So much pain.
I suffered so much pain. I was 14 years old.
I was 16 years old.
I was 16.
17.
14 years old.
This is me. This was me.
This is me.
When I met Jeffrey Epstein.
This is me when I met Jeffrey Epstein.
There are about 1,000 of us.
It's time to bring the secrets out of the shadows. It's time to shine a light into the darkness.
Folks, again, maximum pressure being applied. That happened also. They stood in front of the Capitol today testifying. And what was interesting was to listen to Speaker Mike Johnson just offer more complaints and complaints and complaints. He was blaming Democrats for the problem. He was doing all of that. And it was falling on deaf ears. And so he tried everything. Mike Johnson tried everything not to allow this to come to pass. And remember, it was that Arizona Democrat who was elected to fill the seat of her deceased father, who was the 218 vote to discharge for the discharge petition, forcing this to be voted upon on the House floor. They had no choice whatsoever to do this, and so he never wanted this day to come. And listen, the White House is putting pressure, meeting with Republican members like Lauren Boebert. And she was like, no, the victims deserve to have this. And so even Trump could not get some of his biggest supporters. He has been in a war of words. He's been a war of words with Marjorie Taylor Greene over this issue. I mean, this has been an extremely contentious battle for some time. And I tell you, it turned into a bipartisan deal. And Trump and the Republicans did not want these files to be released. Not sure why, but they did not want them to release. Here's one of the Epstein survivors speaking today.
And for too long, truth has been buried, survivors have been silenced, and powerful people have been protected. And today we stand in a moment that will decide whether our government still belongs to the American people or to those who prey on them. Because when mountains of evidence and decades of victim reports across 5 administrations still lead to sweetheart deals or no prosecution at all, this isn't just one case gone wrong. It's an institutional failure on a historic scale, and every member of Congress and this administration must answer for that failure.
So, folks, but not only that, I mean, this so much happened in this. In fact, Democrats and Republicans had to deal with this. In fact, Stacey Plaskett, the delegate from the Virgin Islands, when Democrats released paperwork, what happened there was they showed that Epstein was texting her during a hearing. And Republicans jumped on that, saying she was doing the bidding of Jeffrey Epstein. She took to the floor today to explain her position, what happened. I'm going to find that clip for you in a second. But it really was an unbelievable day as the House and the Senate had to vote on this particular issue. And so give me one second. So here we go. Here's the actual moment of Plaskett speaking and addressing her critics on the floor of the U.S. House. Watch this here.
I first want to give you all a sense of what was happening that day. Everyone knows at that hearing in February, the entire country was watching. As Michael Cohen decided he was going to finally give up information about what was happening in the Trump world, the Trump enterprise. And at the beginning of that hearing, the ranking member, Jim Jordan, had the disrespect to Elijah Cummings, may he rest in peace and his name be a memory, after not allowing Mr. Jordan to shut the committee hearing down. And I turned to Mr. Jordan and told him to have respect for the chair and to basically shut up. And that moment went viral. And I began to get innumerable texts from friends, from foes, from constituents about what was happening in that hearing. And I got a text from Jeffrey Epstein, who at the time was my constituent, who was not public knowledge at that time that he was under federal investigation, and who was sharing information with me. Now, I heard recently from someone that I was seeking advice from him. Let me tell you something. I don't need to get advice on how to question anybody from any individual. I have been a lawyer for 30 years. I have been a narcotics prosecutor in New York City. I have had the honor of being a political appointee at the Justice Department after September 11th as a Republican appointee in the Bush administration. I know how to question individuals. I know how to seek information. I have sought information from confidential informants, from murderers, from other individuals, because I want the truth, not because I need them to tell me what to say. And if you look at the transcript, you will see that I questioned Michael Cohen for 5 minutes. The Washington Post only shows you 30 seconds and takes from it one individual's name that I got from Jeffrey Epstein and didn't know who the individual was, and put that individual with a host of other individuals that I felt the committee should subpoena. They've never been subpoenaed. They've never been questioned.
Wild day on Capitol Hill. Randy, what say you about what took place today? Why Republicans fought real hard for these files not to be released. You don't fight that hard unless you don't want some stuff revealed to the public.
We all know what's in the files now. They made it very obvious that there is certainly some information that they do not want us to know. I mean, how long did they prolong that Arizona's her getting sworn in? I mean, was it 3 weeks? I mean, it seemed illegal how long they took. So as they're scrambling and we see Trump falling apart. I mean, well, I know we're going to talk about it later about him calling the reporter a piggy. I mean, he's losing his mind. Clearly, he is stressed out and doesn't want what's in those files to come out. What I was thinking when I was seeing those women speak today is that I am shocked when you see people like Megyn Kelly and all of these people who are continuing to support white supremacy and not protect those who are the most innocent in this world. I mean, if you wouldn't think that we would care about anybody, you would think that we would protect children. And here we have this huge sex trafficking ring, and you have these men who are white men who are extremely powerful that have gotten away with this for decades now. And it's shocking to me, all of the people who are still fighting to protect these men, these criminals. And that is what is sad to me, what we're witnessing now. But it also shows the power of white supremacy and who will work to keep it alive and keep it strong, regardless of who suffers. And so when you have women like Megyn Kelly, who's looking at these victims and not feeling sympathy, but starting to split hairs and say, who really looks like a child? Oh, she was 14 or 15, not really 5. That's when you're really seeing how dependent people are on this sick system that exists.
It was unbelievable, Mustafa. And as you heard the woman say, 5 administrations, 1,000+ women. Really?
Well, first of all, muchas gracias to Congresswoman Grijalva. We appreciate you and the vote that you casted, along with all the others. You know, it's really interesting. You know, we've had predators who have been allowed to roam free for decades upon decades upon decades now, never allowing, you know, these young girls to move out of sort of the hellish situation that they've had to deal with after they were assaulted. And, you know, we've got this, we forget that folks need to be able to heal, and for you to be able to heal means that you have to be able to have justice. And that's what they've been asking for. They've been asking for folks to put a spotlight on this. They've been asking to make sure that people are brought to accountability who took advantage of them, who raped them, the pedophiles, all these different types of folks. And Randy laid it out. It is about power and privilege, being able to escape, you know, from the law. Because, you know, yes, Jeffrey Epstein and his partner were arrested after a long, long time, but there may be thousands of men who are out there who are still walking these streets. So we should be very clear about what sex trafficking is, how it impacts folks, and that it has to be addressed. It doesn't matter if somebody is a billionaire or a millionaire, or if there's someone who's driving a bus. If you're a part of those types of things, then you have to be brought to justice.
Joe?
Yeah, I mean, and now this is the next battleground. The next battleground is now to make sure that everything that's supposed to come out comes out, and it's not clouded under the guise of an investigation. Well, this part is under investigation, so this can't be released. I think that there are people that are going to know if something is missing that's not released. And at the risk of oversimplifying it, how do we know? If nothing negative towards Trump is released, we know that they've cooked it. We know they cooked the books because they were fighting entirely too hard to keep this thing from being released, because they knew that some of the milk wasn't white and that he wasn't going to look good if the truth actually came out. So now we've just moved to the next frontier. And it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, Donald Trump, you know, actually on some level, I can't fault him. He always has been able for the last 10 years to look at these folks and say, there's nothing to see here. And so look in the other direction, and they turn around and do it. They go, okay, you know. And so now he's got caught a little unexpected that they didn't really go his way here. But let's see if they stay there. Let's see if they really allow this to become this political thing where we revisit certain people that call themselves Democrats or Bill Clinton or whoever it is that might be going back 20, 25 years, et cetera, as opposed to dealing with the matter at hand. None of those guys are president. Trump is president. Trump is the one that tried to keep this stuff from coming out. And so, you know, I'm not down with child molesters, people that rape underage folks, or whoever they are, black, white, Democrat, Republican, however it gets down. Get them all. But you'd be crazy to think that this doesn't, on some level, include Trump in a way that they've been trying to shield and hide. So hopefully we stay on the work here, stay on the attack here, stay on the aggressive side as it pertains to making sure everything that's supposed to come out actually does.
All right, folks. Let's go to Memphis. The Tennessee judge temporarily blocked the deployment of the National Guard in Memphis, ruling that Governor Bill Lee exceeded his authority. Davidson County Chancellor Patricia Head Mosky issued the injunction, but paused it for 5 days to allow for an appeal. Although the National Guard deployment has been halted, federal agents from the FBI, ATF, and DEA will continue their work in Memphis as part of a broader crime-fighting effort. Joining us now is one of the plaintiffs in that, Memphis City Councilman J.B. Smiley. Glad to have you on the show.
Thank you.
What was interesting to me is the fact that you and others said we should fight this, but there were other city leaders who capitulated. Why?
Yeah. I think, some of the leaders have a hard time pushing back against an administration who seems to control the courts. But my position has always been, just because the fight is difficult doesn't mean you need to bow down. I'm in a position, or the position, that we're going to push back against any type of administration who try to subject us to military occupation. Just because it's difficult doesn't mean we shouldn't get into the fight.
And absolutely. And listen, y'all are elected to lead. There are local leaders, there are state leaders, there are national leaders. And for Trump to run roughshod over the duly elected representatives of Memphis and other cities is shameful.
Yeah, I just think some people are always concerned about potentially losing resources if you fight the federal government, if you fight the state. But I always have to remind folks, they meaning the state, have consistently given Shelby County the least. And if you're concerned about losing resources, it's not going to be much to lose. They have an obligation to give us the resources they give us, but they're not going to give us more. And I've been consistent about this since 2023 or 2024 when we fought the state as it relates to gun reform. They said they're going to take resources from our communities, but they have consistently done the least. And we're going to continue to fight them when it comes to skirting the law or subjecting us to a military occupation. I think it's our moral obligation to do that.
Listen, I get the fear of losing resources, but I say the greater fear is when you lose credibility and when you lose your power. When you talk about the loss of civil rights, the loss of legal rights, that stuff matters, because when you let someone take, in one instance, they will continue to take.
And I think the another concern should be, why, if we allow them to continue to open this door to skirt the law while they're targeting Hispanic people today, the very next people they're going to target, people who look like me. And I think we have to fight against injustice right now. We are freedom fighters in the city of Memphis. I just wish some of our elected leaders will understand that if we don't fight now, we've already lost the war that's soon to come.
Absolutely. Questions from my panel. Mustafa, you first.
Yeah, well, it's good to see you. Thank you for everything you're doing for the country. Could you be clear with folks? Is there a rebellion or an invasion happening in Memphis?
Absolutely not. As a matter of fact, from September of this year, from January to September of this year, crime was at a 25-year low. We've invested in group violence intervention programs, and we saw successes. What you see now is the Memphis State Task Force and the National Guard and the federal government trying to come into the city of Memphis and claim that they've done something great. And all they're doing is piggybacking off of the efforts of our local law enforcement. Our duly elected officials should be stepping up and say, you're not going to take credit for the work that we've fought hard to do. And we're not going to subject us to this type of a very aggressive, authoritarian type of leadership. We're not going to bow down to them. We will not.
Joe?
Hello, sir. Tell us about the discussions that you've had with local law enforcement. This is happening everywhere, and the discussions I've had with local law enforcement here in California are like, whether it's ICE or whether it's, we don't have the problem with the governor per se, but anytime there's a militarization of a local area, it seems to uproot and undermine the goodwill that good law enforcement folks are really trying to put in the ground for those rainy days when they need to be trusted, when they need to be believed, which is all the time. Are you having those same kinds of conversations with local law enforcement? And if so, what are they saying?
Well, absolutely. Today we had a press conference along with the county mayor, Lee Harris. And one of the things that one of the community groups noted was they've been building good rapport with local law enforcement officers, particularly with the Hispanic community. But now their trust has eroded. And that's the same concern that you hear some of the local law enforcement officers. We've built or started building good rapport, particularly after what happened with Tyree Nichols. It's very hard to build good rapport when you have a tragedy like that occur. And when you're starting progress and now you have this occur, it's very difficult for them to say, hey, trust us now, especially when you have, the federal agencies coming in and uprooting families in our neighborhood. It's difficult.
Randy.
Thank you so much for fighting back. I appreciate your courage. How are the residents doing? Like, how are they responding to the National Guardsmen being there? Being in D.C., we saw people actually on the streets fighting back and not being, confrontational with the National Guard, but very much being clear that they did not want them there. Are you seeing that in Memphis?
Yeah, in the city of Memphis, a lot of our residents have humor. We do something called checking. You will see residents going out, making fun of the National Guard being here. But you also see community members taking a very serious approach, saying, why are you here? What are you doing? What benefit do you provide for our community? You have business owners concerned, say, hey, we don't want the National Guard here. Particularly if you talk about the small businesses in the areas in which the National Guard are walking, I won't say patrolling because they don't have policing power, but walking around, with show of force, they're hurting businesses in our community. I'm almost as concerned as I was during COVID when the businesses were shuttering. This is a very negative impact on the economic portion of the businesses we have in our community. The people don't want the National Guard here. And I don't care what the folks outside of Memphis saying, but if you talk to residents of Memphis, they're not talking about we want the National Guard. They're saying goodbye, good riddance. Don't let the door hit you when you leave.
All right, then. Well, Councilman Smiley, we certainly appreciate it. Congratulations on this suit. We'll see exactly what happens if there's an appeal and what's the next steps.
We're expecting an appeal real soon, but we'll be fighting.
All right. Thanks a bunch. Folks, going to a break. We come back. I've said time and time again that Donald Trump is the most despicable person to ever enter the White House, and that's saying a whole lot. But I'll show you what this idiot said about a female reporter, but then how shameful he was in responding to questions regarding Saudi Arabia's Crown Princess role, the murder of an American journalist. You're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered right here on the Black Star Network.
They said the quiet part out loud. Black votes are a threat, so they erased them. After the Supreme Court gutted the Voting Rights Act in 2013, Republican legislatures moved fast. New voter ID laws, polling place shutdowns, purges of black voters from the rolls. Trump's Justice Department didn't stop it. They joined in. In 2018, his DOJ backed Ohio's voter purge system, a scheme that disproportionately erased black voters. Their goal, erase black votes and political power. Yeah, that happened. These are the kinds of stories that we cover every day on Roland Martin Unfiltered. Subscribe on YouTube and download the Black Star Network app. Support fact-based independent journalism that centers African Americans and the issues that matter to our community.
If in this country right now, you have people get up in the morning and the only thing they can think about is how many people they can hurt, and they got the power, that's the time for mourning.
For better or worse, what makes America special, it's that legal system that's supposed to protect minorities from the tyranny of the majority.
We are at a point of a moral emergency. We must raise a voice of outrage. We must raise a voice of compassion. And we must raise a voice of unity.
We are not in a crisis of party versus party. We are in a crisis of civilization, a human rights crisis, and a crisis of democracy itself. And guess what? You've been chosen to make sure that those that would destroy, those that would hate, don't have the final say, and they don't ultimately win.
Hello, I'm Bishop T.D. Jakes, and you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
Donald Trump called a Bloomberg News reporter, Catherine Lucy, a piggy during a tense exchange aboard Air Force One on Friday. Look at this ingrate.
So he dictated a couple of memos to himself to be brief. You're going to find out what did he know with respect to Bill Clinton, with respect to the head of Harvard, with respect to all of those people that he knew, including J.P. Morgan shares. Yeah, Jennifer, go ahead.
Incriminating in the files, sir? Quiet. On Venezuela, sir, you've had a lot of meetings on Venezuela. I know you can't tell us what your next steps will be, but can you take a...
So he dictated a couple of memos to himself to be brief. You're going to find out what did he know with respect to Bill Clinton, with respect to the head of Harvard, with respect to all of those people that he knew, including J.P. Morgan shares. Yeah, Jennifer, go ahead.
Incriminating in the files, sir?
Quiet.
On Venezuela, sir, you've had a lot of meetings on Venezuela. I know you can't tell us what you're...
Piggy, do you know how despicable this man is? In fact, that was the video. This is what it looked like, a photo of the incident. This man is shameful. He's shameful. And other members of the press, they just kept going. Well, former Fox News anchor Gretchen Carlson called the remark disgusting and degrading. Donald Trump has a history of attacking female reporters and trying to shut women journalists up with demeaning language. He said to Ebony McMorris, American Urban Radio Network. He said to so many others. And let me tell you something right now. The right says nothing. The right will not say a word. That's the right. He called her a piggy. This is Catherine Lucy right here. But it wasn't just Lucy. Today, in the Oval Office, the Saudi Crown Prince, who was given an elaborate welcome, Trump was questioned by ABC News reporter Mary Bruce. This was the exchange.
Is that pretty good?
Mr. President, why wait for Congress to release the Epstein files? Why not just do it now?
You know, it's not the question that I mind, it's your attitude. I think you are a terrible reporter. It's the way you ask these questions. You start off with a man who's highly respected, asking him a horrible, insubordinate, and just a terrible question. And you could even ask that same exact question nicely. You're all psyched up. Somebody psychs you over at ABC. You're going to psych it. You're a terrible person and a terrible reporter. As far as the Epstein files is, I have nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein. I threw him out of my club many years ago because I thought he was a sick pervert. But I guess I turned out to be right. But you know who does have? Bill Clinton, Larry Summers, who ran Harvard, was with him every single night, every single weekend. They lived together. They went to his island many times. I never did. Andrew Weissman, I hear. All these guys were friends of his. You don't even talk about those people. You just keep going on the Epstein files. And what the Epstein is a Democrat hoax to try and get me not to be able to talk about the $21 trillion that I talked about today. It's a hoax. Now, I just got a little report, and I put it in my pocket, of all the money that he's given to Democrats. He gave me none, zero, no money to me. But he gave money to Democrats. And people are wise to your hoax, and ABC's your company, your crappy company, is one of the perpetrators. And I'll tell you something.
So why not just sign it down?
I think the license should be taken away from ABC because your news is so fake and it's so wrong. And we have a great commissioner, the chairman, who should look at that, because I think when you come in and when you're 97% negative to Trump and then Trump wins the election in a landslide, that means obviously your news is not credible and you're not credible as a reporter. So I've answered your question. You should go and look at the Democrats who received money from Epstein, who spent their time. Larry Summers was with him all the time.
Abusive, gross, despicable. Mary Bruce, this is Mary Bruce. She was doing her job. See, what he can't stand, he cannot stand when women challenge him. It drives him crazy. And so he reversed to be this abusive ogre, just being this absolute despicable individual. And see, folks, what we also saw took place today in the Oval Office, because the question that she asked before that dealt with the role of the Saudi crown prince in the brutal murder of Khashoggi. Now here's what's crazy. The American intelligence came to the conclusion that he ordered the brutal killing of Khashoggi. And guess what happened? Did he answer? No. No covered for him? Trump, listen to this.
Is it appropriate, Mr. President, for your family to be doing business in Saudi Arabia while you're president? Is that a conflict of interest? And Your Royal Highness, the U.S. intelligence concluded that you orchestrated the brutal murder of a journalist. 9/11 families are furious that you are here in the Oval Office.
Who are you with?
Why should Americans
Who are you with?
And the same to you, Mr. President.
Now, who are you with?
I'm with ABC News, sir.
You with who?
ABC News, sir.
Fake news. ABC fake news. One of the worst in the business. But I'll answer your question.
Thank you.
I have nothing to do with the family business. I have left, and when I've devoted 100% of my energy. What my family does is fine. They do business all over. They've done very little with Saudi Arabia, actually. I'm sure they could do a lot. And anything they've done has been very good. That's what we've done. We've built a tremendous business for a long time. I've been very successful. I decided to leave that success behind and make America very successful. And I've made America more successful by far than it ever was, and that it ever could have been, no matter who was president. There would be nobody bringing in $21 trillion, that I can tell you right now. As far as this gentleman is concerned, he's done a phenomenal job. You're mentioning somebody that was extremely controversial. A lot of people didn't like that gentleman that you're talking about. Whether you like him or didn't like him, things happen. But he knew nothing about it, and we can leave it at that. You don't have to embarrass our guest by asking a question like that.
Embarrass our guest by asking a question like that. Mustafa, is he a grown man? Can he answer for himself?
He can most definitely answer for his own self. He helps to run a major country, so he can definitely speak for himself. It's you know, I've watched a lot of presidents. I advised a couple of them. I don't think that there were any in the past who would ever even come near to this type of a situation of, you know, having an American citizen who's been killed and then you defending and uplifting someone who may have had something to do with it. So we're living in this really like alternative universe almost whenever you walk into, or the cameras go into the White House, and the things that you see them say and do. You know, it makes you really understand that, what was it Michael Jackson said, they don't care about us. They truly don't care about any of the American citizens that are out there. They don't care about we the people. They don't care about any of those things that we often think that most folks who sit in that important seat would actually do. But it also sends a message to dictators across the planet that you can literally do anything, and you still can have a place with this current administration if you are willing to invest enough. You heard him kept talking about trying to get him to say that he was going to invest $1 trillion. I think he was up to like $600 billion.
First of all, yeah, so Saudi Arabia is going to invest $1 trillion. Saudi Arabia's GDP is 1.1 trillion. They're not going to invest $1 trillion. He is such a damn. I keep telling people he lies about lies.
Well, this is true. We all know that. But the American people sometimes are not paying attention. People are busy working and doing other things, and that's why you got to bring this stuff forward, because this is a very dangerous situation. Again, it's the message that you're sending to others across the country. You see it sometimes in the way that he will uplift Putin, and then they might get into a small disagreement, and then he'll back away for a second, but he always comes back to these dictators who do this not just egregious things, they do these deadly things across the planet. So folks just need to pay attention. But, elections have consequences. And when you put an individual like this into the White House, unfortunately, these are the types of things you're going to get.
And Randy, we know his ass lying about business interests in Saudi Arabia. We know he lying. He is the most corrupt. He is pimping the Oval Office for everything.
Oh, absolutely. He's conducting business and making himself a very, very rich man and his family rich, and journalists have always served such an important part in making America run. They are the ones who bring out the truth. They hold our leaders accountable. And so because we have a crook in charge, a felon in charge, he does everything in his power to silence the journalists, the ones who are courageous enough to ask him the hard questions, the ones that he can't answer, the ones that he doesn't want to answer. He silences them, and he silences them by either insulting them directly or bullying them and just saying that he's going to ensure that they're, that they lose their licenses and things. And I don't see how people can't see this. The only news source that he seems to really believe in are these Republican pundits, our Fox News, faux news, that will not tell the truth, that will not challenge him, and will allow him to run amok. And so we have no one to hold this idiot, this toddler, this felon accountable. And so I am constantly shocked. I think one thing that has really disappointed me is how weak collectively people are. I see why they miss Black people from being in the streets, because I am shocked that people will sit there in silence as he berates and puts down other people like he is like a 4-year-old on a playground, and everyone just sits there and allows it to happen. I've never seen where you beat a bully by just staying quiet. And bravo to these 2 female journalists who are still going out there and trying to hold this idiot accountable.
Joe?
Yeah, and of course this strikes a chord with a daughter that's a journalist that wants to do politics. So I always tell her, hey, just be tough and keep coming at it, because they might not always like you. Hopefully he ends up being a bit of an anomaly. But it's crazy when, he's got a thing with women that seek to hold him accountable. I don't think there's any question about that. They weren't asking anything unreasonable or saying anything unreasonable. And it's interesting how the Republicans just sit in silence. If a Democrat had done this, what if Barack Obama had done this? They'd be trying to impeach him. Okay. They wouldn't have him. Okay. They were subjected to talking about his suits, his tan suit, because they couldn't talk about anything else. You got plenty to talk about here if you want to, but a whole lot of people don't want to. They just kind of keel over and let him do whatever it is that he wants to do, which is unfortunate. But hopefully those ABCs and those media outlets continue to support strong, qualified journalists as they do their jobs. And so that's going to be really important, and hopefully that continues to be the case.
All right, folks, going to a break. We come back. Donald Trump is losing Latino voters with the quickness. Are Latinos finally listening to Black people? We tried to tell you. You're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Sun Network. Join our Bring the Funk fan club. You want to contribute, use a Cash App. Do so with Stripe. See the QR code right here, bottom left-hand corner. PayPal, R. Martin Unfiltered. Venmo, RM Unfiltered. Zelle, Roland@RolandSmart.com. Roland@RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. And, of course, checks and money order. Make it payable to Roland Martin Unfiltered, P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. Back in a moment.
Next on the Black Table with me, Greg Carr. Our legal roundtable is back in session as we look at yet another potential landmark case being considered by the United States Supreme Court. This one is called 303 Creative versus Alennis, and may be the most important and far-reaching First Amendment, that is freedom of speech, case of our time. It could, depending on how the court rules, open the door for a return of Jim Crow segregation laws. It's true.
If you say we can discriminate against one, you're saying we can discriminate against all.
That's on the next Black Table. Don't miss it. Right here on the Black Star Network.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Godfrey, the funniest dude on the planet. And you're watching
Roland Martin Unfiltered.
Last night, the House approved a resolution condemning Congressman Chuy Garcia for his decision to how he chose not to seek re-election. Go to my iPad. This was the vote. 183 Democrats voted against it. 23 Democrats joined it. 213 Republicans did as well for 236. Now, Democrats were fighting this because they were supporting Garcia. But the problem is how Garcia left. In fact, he tried to suggest that, oh, no, he decided to retire. Here's the problem. His chief of staff, Patty Garcia, she dropped her petition 3 days before he dropped out. Let me say it again. No, don't go to it yet. Let me set it up. So the woman who was the chief of staff for Garcia, three days before he announces he's not going to run, she files her petition to run. But he said he decided not to run. It was late. And here's the other problem. This is her petition. Who is the first person to sign Chuy Garcia? Come on, bro. This was a setup. He dropped out late to ease the path for her to run for his seat. You can't say you decided late when 3 days before you dropped out, she mysteriously filed her petition. And you the first person who... See, you knew you couldn't announce 3 days before the deadline because you knew others would run. Chuy, that's that bullshit. That's that bullshit. And they should have voted against your ass, and you should have been called out for it because your ass was wrong. Speaking of wrong, Latino voters, we tried to tell y'all asses that man didn't give a damn about y'all, but the proximity to whiteness, oh my God, y'all were just loving y'all oh my God, I love how he hugs the flag. Oh my God, I love how he's an American. I love how he stands with us. We are all one. We are Latinos for Trump. We are Cubans for Trump. We love us some Senor Trump. We made songs and dances for Trump. And Trump got in there and sending y'all asses out of here. Trump is sitting here lighting your asses up. Snatching your mamas and your daddies and your aunts and uncles and your cousins. Just jacking y'all up left and right. We tried to tell you, but no. Y'all was so adjacent to white that y'all wanted to line up with them MAGA fools. Now what y'all gonna do? So now when you look at polling data is showing how Latinos in huge numbers are running away from Donald Trump. In Virginia, big shift to Democratic candidates. The question is, how will this play out in 2026? Will Latino voters finally wake the hell up and realize that Trump ain't their daddy, and he's not going to sit here and save them, and he don't give a damn about them? Latinos are mad about the economy. They're mad about immigration, all of this stuff. We try to tell you. Chris Towler, director of the Black Voter Project, co-founder of Black Insights Research, joins us right now. Chris, always glad to have you on the show. So, Chris, ain't it amazing what happens when folks learn the hard lesson? What's that phrase? Hard head make for a soft ass?
It seems like that's the case here. The CNN poll is really interesting, and Latinos have pretty much shifted directions completely, not just when it comes to approval, but when it comes to their views on Trump handling the economy, and even their views on how Trump's handling immigration. And so kind of full circle here on all of the things that seem to matter the most when it came election time in 2024.
See, I'm confused, Chris, because see, all them people talked about how Trump was so good for the economy. They talked about how he was, oh my God, he's going to be bringing in the golden age. Man, we are just going to be swimming in cash and gold bars. And, oh man, it's just going to be the time of our lives. That's a lie.
I think there's a realization as well, not just with Latinos, but with a lot of conservatives and even black conservatives that were, spewing all of this BS for Trump in 2024, that it's just that BS, and that there was a lot of misinformation out there being pushed really hard on social media and sort of other non-traditional media platforms that people were just buying into and getting inundated with, to a point where, all of the truth didn't matter anymore. And now we're seeing what the truth is. We're seeing, forest through the trees, as they say. And it's very, very clear, as you said before, that Trump and the Trump administration is only for one thing, and that's Trump. And anyone else is on the outside looking in, even those that voted for him and helped him get into office. I think it's telling, too, in the CNN poll that approval ratings for Latinos earlier this year, they were real close to where white approval was. Those attitudes have dipped so much that they're almost where black attitudes are now. And black approval has always been relatively low for Trump.
Wait a minute. Did you just say that Latinos are so pissed off that they damn near right there with us?
Close to it, yeah.
Damn.
It's almost neck and neck now, where black and Latino approval is both at about 20%, a little over 20%. So it's very telling, if nothing else.
See, that's what happens when your windows start getting bust out. That's what happens when they start raiding churches and schools. That's what happens when your ass believe, oh no, they were going to be attacking the violent. They don't give a damn. They don't care. And so now the racists are running the show. Now the thugs are running the show. And now these Latinos, see the problem with the polling, Chris. The problem with the polling is Latinos are grouped together.
Yeah.
So you really can't separate the white Latinos from the brown Latinos. See,
or the conservative Latinos, the new immigrants from the second, third generation immigrants. And even in this poll, the numbers are so few that it's very hard to say anything here beyond just these really large shifts that are taking place, because, it's a sample of about 1,200 people. But when CNN reports the results, they still have to report people of color together all as one, just because there's not enough numbers to actually dig into these things. And that's going to kill a lot of these campaigns, a lot of these candidates in tight races in places, in Virginia, as we were talking about, Florida, where people are trying to win really close Senate and House seats, if they're not able to dig into these numbers and really see how people feel and the nuances behind what's going on in the polling today.
You look at this stuff all the time. Are we seeing black folks harden against this fool?
I think so. I haven't done too much national polling recently, but I did just finish conducting some personal interviews with sort of black community leaders in a purple state. And the sentiment in the black community from those interviews is that there is this sense of exhaustion and people are tired of having to continue to fight the system, but that doesn't mean that people are done fighting. And I think there's a renewed sense of hope now with some of the elections that just took place this year. And there's a renewed push where even if, black community leaders don't see a candidate or a campaign that they want to get behind, they're turning inwards to the community. And they're looking for organizations and grassroots groups to put their energy and time into and still being political, still being active. Again, it's going to come down to how we get people who are not usually active, who don't usually pay attention to politics, to the polls in the upcoming midterms, because that's going to, turn the tide in, again, these races that are just 1 or 2 point margins. And so, but there's absolutely a sense that the black community is becoming more hardened towards Trump, similar to we saw as we approach the 2020 election, but it's happening much sooner in the presidency this time.
You been talking to any of these dumbass black men who voted for Trump? Do they have any second thoughts?
I don't pay attention to that crowd too much these days, but I have been seeing some second thoughts, but more through contradiction than anything else. A lot of voters who are very loud and outspoken are very stubborn, and so they're not going to outright say that they were wrong, but they are going to say, oh, well, now we're not getting this, or what happened to reparations, or these things that we thought were going to happen. We're going to get another stimulus check. So the same old kind of talking lines, but it's very clear that there is some sense of buyer's remorse for a lot of these people from underrepresented communities that were throwing their support behind this administration.
You've got a race happening in Tennessee that's coming up. In fact, Vice President Kamala Harris made a surprise move. Shocking a lot of people. She's campaigning in that particular. She's campaigning today for Afton Bain in that particular race, and you try to explain to people that the role that the black voter can play in that race. It's almost 17% African American. Go to my iPad. The breakdown of that district is non-Hispanic white, 71.9%. Hispanic is Latino, 6.2. Black, African American, 16.7. Asian, 2.8. Native American, other 2.6. The reality is she is going to need a massive black turnout. But also, many believe that she is going to be able to pull a significant amount of white voters. But the point that you're making, if you want to reach those voters, you're going to have the folk who can speak to those voters.
Absolutely. And there's no one right now more present to speak to black voters than Harris. She still holds a lot of admiration in the black community. And in a race like that, even if you could split white voters 50-50, right, you need those black voters to get over the hump. And in that district of Tennessee, it's going to be a really hard task to win that type of white support. I think right now it's estimated at a 10-point advantage for Republicans. So there's a lot of ground to make up. But say you split white voters 55-45 and you win 90+% of black support and you get black voters to the polls, it's absolutely realistic to think you could win that race. But you have to try and get out as many black voters as you can, because 9 out of 10 of them are going to vote for you as the Democratic candidate. And so, I think it's really brilliant to get Harris out there, especially as this being one of her sort of first campaign stops or back campaigning for people other than her book tour. And so it's going to get a lot of people's attention, especially in the black areas in that district.
All right, real quick question from the panel. Joe, you first.
Kind of connected. What's the best way for us to continue to inform citizens, voters, particularly black voters, to really, get back in the race, stay in the race as pertains to voting and participation? Or is the suffering that some are going through, black women losing jobs, et cetera, is that helping to take care of and make them more perceptive and aware about the voting?
I think the suffering, if you will, is going to mobilize some voters, but there's also going to be a significant group of black voters that needs compassion, and you're going to need to understand why they might feel alienated, removed, tired, exhausted with politics right now, and come up with political arguments that, on the one hand, absolutely do impression upon them the dangers that are imminent with the Trump administration and sort of the MAGA Republicans in power, while at the same time discussing ways that their lives could get better through politics in the future, right? And sort of have a short-term game and a long-term game when it comes to talking with black voters. But first and foremost, be empathetic and understanding as to why black voters or the black community in general might be feeling really sort of disillusioned at this moment in time.
Mustafa?
There's been a stronger focus in certain parts of the country, with ICE and a number of other things that, Latino voters are experiencing. I'm curious, in those areas, are we seeing more of the individuals there moving away from the Republicans, or is it just across the country?
That's a good question. I haven't seen any specific data suggesting that the proximity to sort of ICE raids or ICE activity is moving Latinos any more than these trends we've seen nationally. I wouldn't be surprised, though. Sort of similarly or related work on black voters suggests that the movement of sending the National Guard can be mobilizing and likely has in some of these cities. So even though there's no analysis or data out there, I would, theorize or posit that this would have some sort of impact on Latinos and their views of the Trump administration, especially when it's directly affecting their lives, right? That's what makes the big difference here.
Randy?
Similar question. Are we seeing a breakdown by gender and age with the Latino voters?
Again, I haven't seen anything that is that nuanced when it comes to the polling. And this again just speaks to the limitations of the general polling out there, is that, as Roland said, right, we don't want to just see gender and age, but we want to see national origin. We want to see generation. There's so many different things within each community, the Latino community, the black community, Asian American community, that can tell us so much about what's going on with these voters, but we just don't get it most of the time because these mainstream news outlets, Beltway polling really just doesn't care to do the work, right? They want to see the national trend, they want to get the headline, and then they move on to the next story. And so I'm hopeful that campaigns are taking that extra step to collect the necessary data in their districts and states that are needed. But more often than not, right, those are stories that just are not told most of the time.
All right. Chris Towler, I appreciate it, man. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
All right, folks, going to a break. We come back at our Marketplace segment right here, our Shop Black Star Network Marketplace segment. Back in a moment.
This week on A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie, are you looking for clarity on your believer's journey? Are you finding it difficult to really find your lane and stay in your place? Do you think that you have what it takes to build a sense of community even in these difficult times, knowing that God has got your back? Well, this week on A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie, we're talking about just those things.
I have the courage to walk through this tough season because they're going to come.
You need the friends that have a belief system like yours.
A believer's journey this week on A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie on Black Star Network.
This week on The Other Side of Change.
Book bans, anti-intellectualism, and Trump's continued war on wisdom.
This is a coordinated backlash to progress. At the end of the day, conservatives realized that they couldn't win a debate on facts. They started using our language against us, right? Remember when we were all woke and the woke movement and all that kind of stuff? Now everything is anti-woke, right? When we were talking about including diversity, equity, inclusion in higher education, now it's anti-DEI. All this are efforts to suppress the truth because truth empowers people.
You're watching The Other Side of Change only on the Black Star Network.
It's your boy Earthquake, giving Roland Martin something to do, because he don't know what to do. He from Texas. Ain't his fault.
approaching holiday season. I mean, not fully yet, but my birthday was Friday, so, you know, y'all want to hook a brother up. I'm just saying. Be Rooted creates culturally inclusive stationery designed to celebrate and empower women of color every day. From bold journals to beautifully crafted planners, Be Rooted is redefining how women express themselves through stationery. Jasmine Foster, the CEO and founder of Be Rooted, joins us from Atlanta. All right, Jasmine, glad to have you here. First of all, ain't none of this for brothers?
I mean, y'all play cards. Do you or do you not play cards?
No, I understand that. But what I'm saying is, but in the whole intro, all I hear is celebrating and empower women of color every day, you know, redefines how women express themselves. What I'm saying is your stuff for bros too?
Well, I see thousands of men on this channel. I want to empower one of my brothers out there and maybe Be Rooted for them, okay?
All right, so let's go through this here. So we got a planner here. We got all sisters on the planner. Can we get you? You can throw Jasmine, you can throw a bro in there.
Is the artwork beautiful or is the artwork not beautiful?
It is. So we got.
And don't you have a woman in your life that would love to receive that as a gift?
I mean, brother like gifts too. All right, so we got, this is a planner. This is a daily notebook. Okay, so give me the difference between a planner and a daily notebook.
Okay, so a planner is something that's going to help you get your day more organized. So there's going to be room for you to write down your hourly thoughts. There's going to be room for you to write down your meal plans. You know, we're always trying to make sure that we have getting our fitness together. There's going to be room for your notes versus a notebook is going to be more open-ended. So this is for the girl who's looking to journal, who's just looking to write her thoughts out. She's looking to keep a log of what she needs to do.
All right. So then what we got here? We got coffee mug and wine glass.
Yeah. So that one says before work and because work. Because I don't know about you. Sometimes before work, I need a little bit of caffeine.
Nope.
And after work, I need a little bit of, wine does the body good.
No, I don't do caffeine. I don't do wine. I'm ready to roll at any time.
You don't need caffeine?
Jasmine.
Yes.
You think I would need caffeine?
Well, I'm sure there is someone out there that gets it, and if they don't get it, there is a work bestie that would love that gift.
Randy shaking her head like, hell no, he don't need no extra stuff. I don't need nothing extra. At all. All right, then. Also, so you got a crossword puzzle too? I'm sorry, not crossword puzzle. A jigsaw puzzle. So, a warm embrace.
Yeah, so
hand-drawn puzzle.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be a cozy fall scene, 500-piece puzzle, soft touch finishing, something for you and your family to do. After work on the cozy weekend where you get to put the pieces together, calm your mind down.
And finally, something with a brother on it. We got some playing cards. So we got right here some playing cards as well.
Yeah, so it's a set of 2 cards, perfect for the upcoming Friendsgiving, Thanksgiving season when you and your people are going to get together, play some cards. I know you play spades. Do you play spades?
Oh, hell yes, I play spades.
Okay, so
I'm hashtag team whip that ass.
So have you ever played spades with cards that have black and brown jokers, jacks, face cards? Like, you haven't seen these before. So these are going to be perfect to bring to the gathering for when you get your people together and you have to teach them a little bit of something on the spades table.
Well, I got some black and gold alpha cards over there.
Okay, I see you, brother. I'm an AKA.
Let me see here. First of all, let me make sure that these cards are appropriate.
They're appropriate
for real spades players, because not everybody can play spades. Mustafa, you play spades?
Yeah, I've been playing spades since I was about 10, 11 years old.
All right, smart man, smart Rand. Joe had to go. Randy, you play spades?
Do I play spades?
From Tuskegee University. That don't mean a damn thing. That don't mean a damn thing. I done met some more bougie Negroes who don't play spades, and so I just need to.
People who get to HBCU, they all know.
No,
you have to survive.
I know some HBCU folk who don't play spades. Let's see here. All right, Jasmine. Let's see here. Okay, I finally got this damn thing open.
Let me see if they passed your test.
Let me see right here. Okay, first of all, let's see here.
Yep.
They got to have a proper. Then when you set somebody, this is the real test right here. This is the ultimate test for if you play spades. Lick the back of the card. All right, it holds. All right, it holds. There we go. All right. So your cards are black approved.
Black stamp of approval.
Yeah, stamp of approval. That's right. Slap on the forehead approved. All right, Randy, what? Randy, you ain't never did that?
No.
Randy, you ain't never did that? When you set somebody, you look the back and you
set somebody. You're not licking no cards.
You look the back and slap on your forehead, and you go, "Your ass set. Your ass set." All right, Randy, your question. Go ahead. Your question for Jasmine.
Well, listen, I've already purchased from Be Rooted before. I love particularly the notebooks. I always have a notebook. I have a notebook right here. So congratulations to you. And let me just say, I was going to, actually put this back on you, Roland. I think men can carry notebooks that have beautiful black women on the covers of them.
That's fine. I still want to see a brother. Anyway, okay, fine, whatever. Mustafa, go.
Yeah, congratulations. I'm curious about the artwork. How do you choose the artwork? Do you have particular artists you work with, or what's the process?
Yeah, I'm super lucky to have a team of amazing designers that work for me that we all concept the art together, and then they illustrate everything for the brand. And so an amazing group of black and brown designers that work for the brand.
Cool. Now, how many different products do you have?
We have over 50 products that we change out seasonally. And right now on your marketplace, you have some of our best sellers.
Okay. All right. Henry, give me a wide shot. See, this ain't bad because, they don't slide across the table. So sometimes cards, they too slippery. So you can't have them flying across the table. See, that's right. So we check. So you got to be able to check. Randy, you don't want none of this. Randy, you don't want none of this.
I was going to say I can show you better than I tell you.
Randy, let me explain something to you. Don't let the Texas A&M fool you.
Okay.
See, I love all the HBCU Negroes who talking about you went to Texas A&M. They forgot. I went to Jack Yates High School. We played spades twice a day for 4 years, in the morning and at lunch. Y'all don't want none of this. Y'all don't want none of this. All right, what are you shaking your head for, Jasmine? That's right. Yeah, we keep.
That's a lot. I mean, that's a lot of time. But I know that if I have to have a spades partner to call upon, I'm gonna call up on you, Roland.
Oh, hell yes, we know how to do this. All right, so your best-selling products are on the website. I didn't ask you earlier. When did you start the company?
I started the company in 2020, so right in the height of the pandemic.
Gotcha. And why'd you start it?
Because I was always that young girl that had way too many journals, way too many notebooks, and I spent my corporate career building other people's brands and was waiting for one to be focused on women of color, and then I never found anyone that did it, so I stopped waiting for someone else to do it and did it myself.
All right, then. All right, sounds great. So, folks, I want y'all to go to shopblackstartnetwork.com. Go to shopblackstartnetwork.com. Check out Jasmine's products. Be Rooted. Again, we got the jigsaw puzzle. We've got the glasses here. We got the journal, the notebook, and we've got the playing cards. And so, again, I want y'all to check it out. There's some other products in there as well. So go to shopblackstartnetwork.com. Again, y'all know we're doing the blackout. We ain't buying from other people. So we buying black. So go to shopblackstartnetwork.com and check out all these particular gifts. Jasmine, we appreciate it. Thank you so very much. Last question I have for you: What's a new product you're thinking about coming out with in 26?
Ooh, you trying to get the exclusive?
You damn right.
So we are working on a kids collection. So for back to school, notebooks, planners for young boys and girls, young boys and girls with illustrated artwork. So moms, be on the lookout for Be Rooted for the kids for back to school.
All right, then. And somebody in the chat room said Roland should do a Black Star Network Spades tournament.
Oh.
That's a good idea. And the first victim will be Randy. All right, Jasmine, we appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
All right. Tell her, Mustafa, she don't know. She don't know. She don't know.
I've gotten 2 texts from people saying, tell Roland we will whoop his in some spades. I just want you to know. Mm-hmm.
I done heard that bullshit before.
Okay, listen, like I said, I can show you better than I can.
First of all, Randy, speaking of you showing better, you can tell me. Where my Tuskegee stuff?
Oh, yeah, I got to get you that.
Oh!
Write that down.
For a whole year, because so everybody know, I only wear HBCU gear on this show, places I've been. So I went to Tuskegee. They ain't give me no gear. So I ain't never worn Tuskegee. And Randall was like, why I ain't never seen no Tuskegee stuff? I'm like, they ain't sent me no gear. She's like, oh, I didn't take it. I'm going to fix that. That was last year. That was last year. That was last year, Randy. That was last year. I got an entire closet over here of HBCU stuff, all kind of folk. Because the other Alabama schools doesn't send me stuff.
Okay, I got you, though. No, seriously.
Okay.
Seriously. You know, that's for last.
Yeah, you need to tell the Tuskegee administration, go ahead and put it in the mail so I can rock it on the show. All right, that is it. That's it for us. Randy, appreciate it. Y'all don't forget Randy's card game. Y'all got to understand. I mean, okay, I got to be careful because, you know, Randy got them tricky ass truthing questions, so you're going to fall yourself revealing some stuff you don't necessarily want to be revealing with that truthing game. So I'm just saying. That's right. Don't listen. You get one of them freaky questions, don't be telling the truth. Go ahead and lie.
There's nothing freaky. It's stuff about the black community. It's not those kind of cards, Roland. Go to randyb.net and check them out. There's nothing freaky.
Oh, it's not?
No, it's stuff for the black community, like the stuff we talk about on this show.
Oh, okay. That must be your other set of cards. All right. That's it. Randy, Mustafa, I appreciate it. Thanks a bunch. Somebody put in the chat talking about rolling the slap. That slap didn't sound right. First of all, I got this big ass ring on, and this ring too. Okay, so plus we ain't trying to sit here and mess the set up. What's wrong with y'all people? Plus, an appropriate slap in spades requires a card table. You got to be able to slap the table, then the table jump. Okay, y'all don't know. See, some of y'all are suburban Negroes. All right, that's it. Y'all, don't forget, if y'all want to support the work that we do, y'all know this is the blackest show out here. Ain't no other show blacker. Ain't no show hosted by somebody black any blacker than this show. This is how we do it. So if y'all want to support the work that we do, please do so. Of course, if you want to contribute via Cash App, use the stripe QR code, bottom left-hand corner. PayPal, R. Martin Unfiltered, Venmo, RM Unfiltered, Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com, Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Checks and money order, man. Turn that music down. Music too loud. Came in, you gotta ease in, you gotta slide, you gotta pop that thing up. You just can't. Come on now. Checks and money order. Make it out to Roland Martin Unfiltered, P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. Download the Black Star Network app. Keenan, let me know how many downloads we have. Have we hit 200,000? Apple phone, Android phone, Apple TV, Android TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Xbox One, Samsung Smart TV. If you want to get my book, White Fear, How the Browning of America is Making White Folks Lose Their Minds, be sure to get it. Bookstores online as well. You want to get the audio version I read on Audible, you can do that too. Also, if you want to get our Roland Martin Unfiltered Black Star Network swag, go to shopblackstarnetwork.com. Use the QR code there, man. We got our t-shirts, our hoodies, our zip-ups, wall art. We got all that. You name it, we got it. So go to shopblackstarnetwork.com. Again, Be Rooted, products right here. All of these products you see right here, black-owned products. Man, we got the nursing smocks. We got the nursing smocks right here. We got the black-owned toilet paper and tissue leafy. We got sauces. We got backpacks. Man, we got black-owned chips. We got hair. We got skin products. We got cupcakes. We got HBCU gear. We got artwork and stuffed animals. Man, we got other jigsaw puzzles. We got car cleaning solution, gym wrap. Man, we got all this stuff on shopblackstarnetwork.com. We got what's this here? What's this here? Oh yeah, this is the fragrances, the perfumes. So we got that too. Plus stuff with Be Rooted. Y'all go to shopblackstarnetwork.com. Everybody, black owned. Go there, check it out. And then of course download the app Fanbase. And if you want to invest, get more information at startengine.com/fanbase. Startengine.com/fanbase. Shout out to Morehouse College. I'm rocking their sweatshirt today. I'm gonna figure out who I'm gonna wear tomorrow on the show. And so y'all know how we represent. And again, man, shout out to Mackenzie Scott. Yo, Mackenzie Scott, y'all. She has given more than $700 million. $700 million. Just keep the camera right there. $700 million to HBCUs. I mean, it seems like every day we get a new announcement of a gift. And yo, I can't find my stuff. I was about to do a presentation on there. I don't know where it is. Oh, is it? Yes, it is. Is this it? Oh, good. I found something from them. All right. Here we go, y'all. They sent me a hat. Hey, so today, Mackenzie dropped, what was it, 38 million? Congratulations, Xavier University. Billionaire philanthropist Mackenzie Scott gave $38 million today to Xavier University. Yo, she's giving money to Philander Smith, University of Maryland Eastern Shore, Bowie State, Howard, yo, seriously. So 38 million to Xavier University. So support them. And Xavier, y'all gotta send me something to wear. I can't wear a bag. Just saying, can't wear a bag. All right. So Xavier, congratulations. Folks, I'll see y'all tomorrow right here. Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Y'all know how we close the show out.